But what will be your life's purpose if not motherhood? That's a joke.
That is like not even a top 10 reason to have kids, you guys. Like, it's behind teenage pregnancy, actually wanting to, and the condom breaking.
It felt like, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to be able to handle this? Like,
if I could trade lives with a dog from a rich white family, like, I just would.
Sadly, there are a lot of elderly people still basically alone at the end of their life, even if no matter how many kids they have.
Because I think the birth rate's been falling, right? I would love to be a mom, but I don't want to be someone's mom.
Do you think that like helping to take care of your younger siblings then made you like have an aversion to wanting to do that thing?
I mean, I always tell people, like, I don't want to be a mom, but I would be a dad. And I'm like dead ass serious. Like, all I ever wanted was to just be happy. And some of that is to be selfish. I don't know if I know anyone else who's changed their mind and is actually having a kid. Welcome to season 2 of Grace and Reyna Ruin Everything.
I'm Grace.
And I'm Reyna.
We bring you the conversations you should be having with your best friend.
We cover everything from conspiracy theories, sex, religion, and politics, and normal stuff like friendship.
In a world that feels increasingly black and white, we welcome the nuance.
Expect honest dialogue as we explore what it's like to be a human woman in her 30s.
Whether you're questioning the status quo, seeking deeper connection, or just here for the unhinged tangents, you've come to the right place.
We've got new episodes weekly.
Come for the combos, stay for the vibes.
What I love about having our own podcast is that we don't have to like introduce ourselves. I mean, we say like, hey, I'm Grace.
Do we?
And
I'm Reyna.
Well, I don't know, sometimes. And like, welcome to Grace and Reyna Ruin Everything. But I don't have to be like, I'm Grace. I'm a healer, a guide. I'm a mom.
A guest.
Yeah, like, and I hate that part. Don't you?
I do that at work all the time, so no.
Oh, I don't like that type of intro. I'm just like, can we just get right into it? That's what we get to do.
So actually, some of the first feedback my manager gave me was to stop being so self-deprecating in my intros at work.
What did you say?
I don't remember. It was like, I don't know. I just have like a very like, you know how people are always like hype yourself up? I'm like the opposite. I'm like, tone it down. Like, I feel like I'm always underplaying everything I do. And so I'd be like, yeah, you know, like, I'm your blah, blah, blah. Like part of my job is bringing in people who are much smarter than me to like, da-da-da-da-da. And he was like, stop saying that. Like,
I feel like, yeah, because you also are really smart.
I know.
And the weird thing about this is I feel like in real life, you're actually like, I mean, you can be self-deprecating, but you're also like very full of yourself. And I mean that with love and not as like a negative thing. I mean, as like you know who you are, you know what you like about yourself. You like, you know, aren't afraid to be like, I'm Reyna, I'm the most fun, I'm the funniest. Like, what, you know what I mean?
No, I agree. I just am like, for instance, a good example of if someone is like, can you speak Spanish? I'll be like, kinda. Like, I'll be like, yeah, I kinda can.
Well, maybe this is just like how women underplay. Yeah. Well, you know how they say that women like way underplay their talents compared to men. So like if they were both like, I think it's that if you were applying to a job, a woman would need to meet like 80%.
100% of the requirements. Yeah.
And men is like 40 or something.
It's like 60, I think.
Okay. But like, yeah, significantly less to be like, yeah, I got this. Yeah, I could do it. No problem.
I think it's more that like, you know how earlier before we started recording, you were talking about like being high achieving and like competitive. I wouldn't think of myself as high achieving, but to me, I'm always like, you can always be better though. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's always a better. So sometimes admitting like, oh yeah, I'm there. It's almost like you're stifling yourself. Like, oh, you're there. You made it. You're fluent. You're the best at Spanish you could ever be. Like, bro, you're not. Like, you can always push a little bit more. So I feel like that's more, I'm not comparing myself to the rest of the world because that's a different thing. But like comparing myself to me and like who I could be.
What you know you're capable of.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And I think that's partly maybe like you have like you have a good example of like beginner's mind, I think. In a good, like, do you know what I mean?
That?
Like,
No,
okay, so they say, well, they say like beginner's mind, beginner's mindset. It means that instead of assuming you know everything and assuming that you like, it's kind of like a growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Beginner's mind, you're just like, oh, like I can learn anything. Like, oh, I can like always learn more. I can always be open to new things. I can always, like that like love of learning, which is more of the mindset we're like supposed to be like, it's better for us.
I do have a love of learning. I always say that in my interviews, like, oh shoot. I always say that in my interviews, like, but I feel like they think I'm lying and I'm not.
Maybe you should be like, if they're like, oh, do you speak Spanish? You should be like, yeah, I'm like conversationally fluent. However, I want to get to like native fluency. So I'm just starting, like maybe you should like give yourself a little,
just starting,
because I love to learn. So I want to get to like where you can't even tell that I'm not native.
Yeah.
Like maybe you got to like play yourself up a little
bit. I mean, it's not really a problem.
Yeah. Well, okay, lovely. So, we should probably rant and rave. I have a rant. Do you want me to go?
Yeah, because I don't know mine yet. Still, I was supposed to be thinking then, but I wasn't.
My rant is that most days I'm looking out at the beautiful world around me and the blue sky and ocean views and beautiful, like it's literally the most gorgeous place I've ever been, living in Laguna Beach. And guess what? Most days as I'm looking out, I just see the chemtrails come across the sky. It's like, sometimes I'm like, wow, there's no chemtrails today. And then like, lo and behold, 30 minutes later, they'll start lining them up. And it's really crazy because like, I remember several years ago when people were talking about chemtrails, and then that was like, well, actually, this has been for decades. Remember like the tinfoil hat? This was the original tinfoil hat thing. And I remember it became really apparent a couple years ago when they were cloud seeding and all those rainstorms were happening in LA, and they started talking about it formally. Like LA News was being like, yeah, we have cloud seeding projects. We've been doing it for decades. But yet like still somehow people think it's a conspiracy theory. So anyway, I'm very aware of them. I kind of wish I was less aware of them, because then it becomes like...
And your life would be better?
Well, it's like what you focus on, you see. But sometimes I'm like, are people, like, are people, like, seeing this?
What are they? Is it just me?
Well,
does it depend, or is it unclear? Or do you not know? Or like,
okay,
what's the deal?
It's a whole thing, and we could have a whole episode about this, of, like, what I know and don't know so far. There's a few different geoengineering programs and, like, purposes. So there's the cloud seeding, of course, which is to harvest more rain out of a cloud, to make a rain cloud that's not going to burst. Okay. But all of these are done with releasing certain chemicals and things. Yeah. So the question of, they're like, oh, well, it's totally safe because the amount of silver iodide that we're using is so minimal, it has no effect. But it's like, okay, but if you're cloud seeding over our heads every other day for decades, it really accumulates in the water, in the soil, like,
and then in like a few years probably.
Yeah. And then like they have other ones that's to reflect solar radiation. I think it's called like SMR, solar something radiation, whatever. But basically they make clouds, blankets of clouds, so that the sun can't get through, so it reflects back up. So it's supposed to help us with global warming.
Cooling. Yeah.
But like, I don't know, crazy people like me are like, well, what if like, okay, we can't get like sunlight, vitamin D, like you're just like, what are these chemicals? I don't know, like we don't. And what I don't like about it is that even though, like, this is what I find crazy, even though I can see it with my own eyes, you can see these, like, you can get flight tracker apps and you see planes, like they're not commercial airlines, then they did this whole campaign on the news where they were having newscasters do these talking points being like, those trails you see in the sky, people say they're chemtrails. They're not, they're contrails. Which I think is funny because it says con in the name, first of all, but they say they're the condensation left behind a plane. I know what condensation behind a plane looks like. It's the little tail behind a plane. It disappears. It's not the railroad tracks of white foam that stay and then spread out in the sky. That's a chemtrail. Like, I'm not a fucking retard.
You heard it here first.
Anyway, so but then they're like, oh, we don't do this. But then it's like in the Navy's charter that they do geoengineering, in the Air Force charter. And then there's companies, like you can just look up making sunsets or like cloud rainmaker. Like there are just companies that say this is exactly what they do. They're there on the internet. So it's like, what do you mean they don't? I don't even understand when people say it's a conspiracy. I'm like, it's one of the, I don't know, it's one of those weird things where they keep, and there's certain states that are passing bills to like prevent the state from being able to do it.
Or limit, yeah.
And then so it's like, why are those, okay, so those bills are based off conspiracies? Like, how do you have laws against something that's not real?
Like, for instance, like Los Angeles is a good example, or like all of Southern California don't get enough rainfall. They should not be having that many people there. It's like unnatural how many people are living in that area, that like an unnatural problem kind of requires an unnatural solution.
That is the like reasoning that these companies give. Like if you go on, I was just on, I think it's called Make Sunsets or something. I was just on their website. They have this whole like facts Q&A, and they're like, okay, like, wait, I should actually look this up. It's really funny. Oh yeah, makesunsets.com, go to it. And they have all these facts, questions. They're like, oh wait, where is it? They're like, well, I would, one of the FAQs, I would like you to stop doing this. And then they have an answer. Isn't geoengineering wrong? Then they have an answer. Is this legal? Then they have an answer. So it's like they know that this is a concern. The thing to me is, I'm like, if this is safe and if we need it, then why do you still try to tell people that they're being conspiracy theorists for pointing it out? Like, why can't this just be above board? Why can't we just have a task force that's with citizens and people and government and scientists and like figuring out how we can go about this in a way that I'm not being called a tinfoil hat person for looking at them.
That?
People used to a couple years ago when I would talk about it. And now, I don't know, maybe now people are more open, but I mean, there's still newscasters saying, oh yeah, these people think there's chemtrails, but this is a conspiracy. Like if you look it up, okay, if you Google chemtrails, it tells you the largely debunked idea that planes are spraying chemicals out of the back of them. But then yet, like you can look up cloud seeding and they go, this is a practice where you spray chemicals out of the back of a plane.
But I think there's a difference here. Like I think one is about the trails that all planes leave behind. That is like bad for you, that would be in the atmosphere. The other one is like the intentional leaving behind of chemicals, so like the cloud seeding for a specific purpose.
Well, but the tinfoil hat people were talking, like they just rebranded chemtrails to cloud seeding. It's a rebrand because the tinfoil hat people have known that this is what they were doing from the get-go, releasing chemicals into the air to manipulate the weather. And then it became this like, that's a conspiracy. And then now that they're like, yes, we do this, they rebranded it to cloud seeding.
Honest though, like I feel like most people are gonna be hearing this, including me, are gonna be like, I have not given this a single thought in my day. And I don't know who's bullying Grace, but maybe she should just call them directly and send them the receipts.
I am going to, I need to do an episode on this because it's something that like clearly bothers me. I think I went too long on my rant, so I digress.
Yeah, that was interesting. Anyways, I don't remember what mine was. I thought of one and then was listening to you, so now I forgot what mine was. Oh, I thought of it. So the other day I had I was sad because I was supposed to go to Chicago for work, but we got snowed in. We got like 22 inches of snow or whatever. And so I couldn't leave, which whatever. But we had our like team meeting, and something really cute that my manager did, which I thought was really nice. This is a Rave, I guess. Is the day before, we had 2 days of meetings. So on the first day, she had all of us write down one word that described every other person on the team. And then the next day at the beginning of the meeting, we read them all. Which I thought was really sweet because everyone got to feel nice things about themselves. And she was like, I always like doing this, and I keep this like on my desk or whatever for when I'm feeling down. And then I read all the words to remind myself like how amazing I am.
I love that.
Yeah.
I've had people do that at like a retreat, but it was much more woo. So I'm glad they're doing it
in corporate
real
America.
World, regular world, normie life. Oh, yeah. What did they say about you?
That was the part I thought was interesting. They said I was funny, witty, charismatic, tough, bubbly, which was weird, and
Oh.
fearless.
I think all of those, I'm like, yeah, duh, those are great. Bubbly is surprising, but
Yeah.
I'm glad you're giving bubbly.
I was like, I feel like whoever did this was someone I don't know as well, but I was surprised because I don't work with them in person. Like they're all together in the same office. I'm the only one in New York. And so I was like kind of nervous. I was like, what are they going to say about me? Like I barely know these people.
Maybe you give off bubbly over Zoom. You're like a Zoom bubble. Zoom
Definitely
bubbly.
do not give. Oh my God. A couple of weeks ago, I was told by one of my customers that I needed to smile more.
Oh, awkward. I thought it was like politically incorrect to
It
say that
is.
now.
It is. I just was like, he was saying it. We were on video and I just looked at him like I didn't say anything. And then I told my manager and he was like, I would have fucking killed him. And I was like, yeah, I'm glad you weren't there. But
I mean, that's like crazy because has anybody ever said that and then the person like smiles at them? Like maybe like
if
a
someone
fuck
is
you
already
smile.
not smiling, like as a person who won't smile just because they're not throwing you one just because you say that. And he said it and then it like looked at me to like wait for a smile and I just looked at him back like I'm not doing this. But yeah, there's that.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I mean like I smile, but I'm not like,
Yeah.
scary.
I mean, there's nothing worse than like when you feel like shit, you're angry, you're mad, whatever, and somebody's just like, just be happier. Just be
Well,
happy.
I
You're
was
like,
a smile in 8th grade, so I'm not just like gonna give it away for free.
you gotta work for this.
Yeah. Speaking of
Wow.
8th grade, okay, so I went to 8th grade with one of my friends, actually, who I re-met abroad. I'm not going to say her name because we're about to talk about her. But I think you should know who I'm talking about.
I do know who you're talking about.
Yeah, we're from the same hometown. And she's someone who, like, as long as I've known her, was like never going to have kids. And she's having a baby this year, which is really exciting because her partner was really important to him to have kids. So they are. I thought about her because she's having a baby shower in like 6 weeks and I'm not going to go. And she also had a wedding that I wasn't invited to because it was just her family. So I sent her a really expensive baby shower gift because I was like, good for you for not making me go to anything. So you get a nice gift.
Well, you were supposed to go to the baby shower.
Me?
I mean, like you were invited.
I'm
right?
invited, yeah. But it's in another state.
Got it.
Yeah, people don't usually travel for baby showers.
I mean, you could, but it's okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Yeah, anyone can, but why would I? I know I texted her. I was like, I can't go. Sorry. She was like, I would never expect you to travel. Just wanted you to feel included. And I was like, yeah, I didn't think you'd care. But anyways, what do you think about that? Like, I feel like, I don't know if I know anyone else who's changed their mind and is actually having a kid. But
so, yeah, I think it's really interesting for us, the place where we're at in our 30s, mid 30s. Most of our listeners are, in their 30s. And I think the 30s are a really interesting time because there's this big branch off, and we've talked about it a little bit before as to like, once you get married, start your family, compared to if you're not doing that or not doing that yet, and it like changes your life a lot. And people are making that decision around their 30s, right? Of like, do I want kids? Do I want a family? I think that for women, there definitely is. I know a few different women who maybe felt like they weren't like gung-ho, like I can't wait to be a mom, I'm definitely gonna have kids. They maybe felt like on the fence about it, and I have seen women shift or seen the impact that finding the right man can have, right? Like when people say, oh, I don't want to have kids, and then somebody else says, well, you might change your mind, right? Like you might, oh, that's going to change. Because I think it can happen that women maybe feel ambivalent or not like super excited about it or not sure. And then they meet the man that then they're like, oh, well, I want to have your babies. Or the man's like, I want you to have my babies. And they're like, well, now I get it. Like, I'll do it for you. Like now, now I truly want to. Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't think that's wrong. As long as it's not coming from a place of like being forced to do something you don't want to do.
Forced birth.
We're not Jeffrey Epstein over here.
Yeah. I remember when I met you and I thought this was like so strange at the time. You were like, I don't know what we're talking about, but you were like, yeah, when I graduate college, I want to be a stay-at-home mom and I want to have kids. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, what are you doing? And
that's what my mom had done.
I know.
And it was all I knew. Like, I knew I wanted to be a mom. I knew I wanted a family. Like, I never pictured my life not having kids and having a family. And so it was just so like innate and inherent to what I expected of my life. And I wasn't really sure what career I wanted to have necessarily. But I also like, I mean, then I had careers. It's not like I'm just, it's like, but crazy to come around to now and be like, oh, yeah, I'm a mom. And I guess that's what I always wanted. But I also think I was so young when I wanted that I didn't even ever like question that I would.
Yeah. Do you think that we are programmed into wanting to have we as in women, actually men too, like I actually think they are a big part of programming. I think they're actually more of it. Do you think we're programmed into wanting to have kids in a family?
So I was thinking about this recently. My daughters.
I was going to ask about that. Like,
so think about it this way.
How much do they play construction worker? They don't. They just play mom.
It's not that they play mom. Here's what happens. The figures that they have to look up to day in, day out is their mom and their dad.
Yeah.
When they talk about wanting to do things when they grow up, they say, not me, they say, when I'm a mom, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
When I'm a mommy, I'm going to like whatever, it's like because they equate woman, like this is the woman I know. She is a mom. If they maybe like me, want to be like me, whatever. I mean, hopefully, I don't know. Like maybe they're like, wow, that's cool. And then so that becomes inseparable for them. Like,
yeah,
full grown woman equals mom and man equals dad, right? Like they don't think about like when I'm a wife with my husband, they go when I'm a mom and I have my dad, like we're going to do this, right? And so I think that there's a lot that inherently comes in, and I'm not over here telling them like, yes, your main goal should be having babies. Like if they want to, great. And I think, Evie's very interested in babies. She really likes babies. She talks about it. She asks, when am I going to get a little brother or sister? But I am not trying to program her into that. But I think when you start out in a family and your main people are your mom and dad and they're having babies, like that's your intro to the world.
Yeah.
So of course you think that that's what life is, what the world is. What's your experience?
I mean, I would agree with that. Like, I think that you learn about the world when you're very young and you're able to pick up a lot of information starting from when you're a very little baby. I do think that we reinforce it, like not like you specifically, but as a society, especially to girls, like young girls about having a family or having a boyfriend, or just the way that we speak to them and socialize them, or whatever chores they have around the house or whatever are more like mother coded. It's like almost like training to be a mom versus like training. Sons don't get treated the same way, and maybe it's a little bit different now, but just in general, sons don't get treated the same way. I feel like boys are allowed to dream bigger, and girls now, I do think dream big, but the dream also includes being a mom. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think we are stifling girls as much as we used to, but I do think there is still a lot that's tied to your worth. Your worth is tied a lot to if you have a partner and if you have a family as a woman and as a girl. Even if you think about when you're in middle school and you're in high school, like that doesn't go away, like continues. And so, yeah, I mean, I agree. I do think it's just part of it, but I think the part, and that's not bad. It's not bad to have families. I think the part where makes me think about what could we do about this differently is I just don't think everybody should have kids. So if you just grow up thinking like, I'm going to have kids because that's what everybody does, but you never stop to think about if that's what you really want, or even like, are you going to do the things necessary to be a good mom? Like, then you have all these maladjusted people out here that are just out and about.
Well, I think this is interesting because obviously, Reyna, you come from a different like family unit and different upbringing, and you had a different experience where, I mean, you could speak for yourself, but I know you had like somewhat of a challenging experience with your mom and, you know, your dad that wasn't like living in the home with you. And like, I wonder how much of you, like, because you don't want to have kids as of now. It's not your plan, right?
Correct.
And like, how much of that might be due to your experience of your family when you're very little, and maybe having the opposite of a feeling, like being like, I don't want to be like this mom example that I'm seeing, right? Or
yeah, I mean,
I don't know if you
that
think of
too. I'm not really quite sure because I feel like a little bit of yes and a little bit of no of like I feel like I would be a really good mom.
Oh, for
Like,
sure. No, that's not the question. But do you think that you saw like what your experience was, and then it made you not want to I mean, obviously, so that's the thing.
well,
Like,
no, that is
your
part.
child
You
would
have
not
to
be in the same
exactly
situation.
like
Do you think that's what's holding you back?
no, because like that part of me saying like I think I'd be a really good mom is key to that not being the distinction because like my kid's childhood would be really great. So I think like part of me agrees with you of like, well, maybe I think I didn't romanticize having kids because of the childhood I had. So I think I didn't grow up just defaulting to wanting to have kids. I also grew up like feeling different than everybody a lot. And even when I was in high school and stuff, I never wanted to have kids. Like I always said that I never wanted to get married. I just like, I think I just never wanted what was around me. And not only, I was actually around a lot of different adults and a lot of different families growing up too. I think part of the reason why I ended up like with the great life I have now is because I'm really good at finding resources for myself. So I was like a kid, I'd hang out with like random neighbor adults, you know, like I was just very good at doing that from a very young age. And I think I've always felt like I never really fit in anywhere that I saw. And if families are all around and I felt like I never fit in, I think to me, I was having the opposite reaction of like, well, I just like don't fit in this. So I don't want it. I mean, I don't know. I never like consciously had that thought to your point about your daughters. But then now that I'm older, like I know I'd be a really good mom. Like I'd be ranked, but I just still don't care enough.
Well, I think you're a good example of coming from like the opposite side, which I think maybe not as women as I think maybe not as many women are, which is okay, this isn't necessarily my default choice is I will have babies, and then actually questioning, do I want to consciously choose to become a parent right now?
Yes, the conscious choice I think is actually harder than just assuming it's your path along the way. And I think that's the only part I have issue with, not that people have kids, because I think having kids is really cool. I love kids. I actually really love kids.
I was talking to one of my sisters about this recently, just that the idea that also the longer we wait and once we get into our 30s and maybe women have a high powered career, maybe they're making good money, maybe they have the freedom and they're traveling and they're enjoying their life and like they've really sort of made it to this certain point that it actually makes it harder to consciously choose to have children versus maybe back in the day or in certain parts of the country or for certain people where you're maybe just coming out of like barely coming out of being a child yourself in like your early 20s and then being like, oh yeah, well, we're gonna have a family, got pregnant, okay, and like you never actually left, let's say, like the bubble of your hometown or something to really break out and see how cool and complex and amazing the world can be. And then to in your mid 30s think about like, are you willing to quote unquote give that up, like give up the freedom, give up the, all the work that you put in to then maybe just like step away and have babies. It's like the stakes are higher.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I mean, I ask Alex all the time, like when we first started dating, I was like, I don't know if I want to have kids. Like, it was like we were dating for like 2 months. And he was like, okay, yeah, whatever. But we kind of still have to keep checking. Like, and I'm like, the older I'm getting, the less this is sounding like I'm going to do this. And now that I'm turning 36, I'm like, this isn't happening. This isn't.
Well, you definitely can. I mean, it's not like you're not
No,
able
I'm not
to.
scared of like I came off of birth control when I was 30 so that I could, because I have PCOS, I could get my body right to have kids should I want to choose that. And then to your point, like life is so fun and there's not even like so much I want to do, but I think that for me, like all I ever wanted was to just be happy. And some of that is to be selfish. And you can't be selfish when you're a mom.
Yeah, well, it looks a lot different. I mean, it's more complex. And I also want to say, like, for motherhood and parenthood and having families, it's not that, like, I don't feel like my life ended. I don't feel like I don't have fun or that I don't love my life. It just adds a level of obviously responsibility and a level of complexity. And I think the cost component is a big deal now because, like, if you can afford to have, you know, have help and pay for like babysitters and nannies and stuff, like you can still live whatever life you want to live. I mean, it's obviously more complex and there's like never going to be that like I mean, we talked on a previous episode and people can go back and listen about like the identity change that happens during motherhood. So I don't, it's like, it's hard. It's like, you don't want to belittle it, but also it's like, it's not like life is over. You just live this different, cool,
different life,
more like, and very full life with a lot of balls in the air. But I also do think that also with the economic situation that's happening these days where it's like harder and harder for people to be able to afford to buy a home, to be able to
live
feel
off one income,
right, to feel like you can live off one income and have like the lifestyle that you're used to. And maybe we've like ruined that for ourselves. Maybe it's the two incomes up till mid 30s and then it's like, well, yeah, you don't want to cut that in half, like, but if you never had it, again, why it would be easier to make the decision when you're younger. You never even had money, so like who cares, just keep kind of making it by. But I think it's hard to make those decisions to give up half the income or know that then you're going to need to be taking on a lot of expenses of daycare, preschool, nannies, whatever the thing.
I mean, I always tell people like I don't want to be a mom, but I would be a dad. And I'm like dead ass serious. Like I think being a mom is a whole nother level of responsibility, of emotional investment. And I don't think it's not to say that there aren't really great dads out there, but being a mom, I think is one of the hardest, most rewarding, important roles, jobs, however you want to say it, in the world. And you have the exact reason, like what you mentioned, like having a harder childhood is the reason why I know how important it is, like, to be a good mom or to even be a passable mom. Because you are making choices that impact someone's whole life for the rest of their life long after the mom is gone. And everyone that they touch and they interact with and they love and they socialize with and they're friends with and whatever, feel whatever happens between the mom and their child. Not to say that it's not with the dad, because people got daddy issues, but the amount of investment you got to make when you're a dad, it just seems a lot different. So I would be a dad.
No, I feel that because, even just like the different phases that Ryan and I have been through and with our daughters and with having different levels of help in the home, it's like, I think we've had phases where him and I were both acting more like dads and we had like a nanny house manager that was like taking on the mom role, honestly. And then I've also had times where I was very much in the mother role. And it is really crazy. And like even still now, my oldest is about to be 6, and I feel like I'm still unraveling conditioning that I had that
Yeah.
wants to be like, that is so ambitious and wants to like have success defined by what I'm doing in my career and how much I'm making. And like, there's still levels of that that I'm just now like hopefully more fully shedding. That is crazy because I thought I did that a few years ago when I was like, oh, I'm stepping away from my corporate job and now I'm going to do, you know, something entrepreneurial where I have control over my time, where I can be the mom I want to be. But then I still had so much programming of like, no, we got to like, you know, go bigger and keep growing and like wanting to like prove certain things about through achievement within the
That
career
your achievement means something about yourself.
versus like,
Yeah.
I think now I'm like really dealing with a whole nother level, like really integrating another level of like, wait, what if like actually my worth and value is literally not at all tied to what income I generate through businesses that I'm like
Interesting
actively running.
concept.
No, I know. And I thought that I like, it's so crazy because I was pretty sure that I already was there. And now I'm like, oh no, like this is a whole nother level of embodiment of that. To really, I've stepped back a lot from my coaching business and have been a lot more present in the home because last year was just so crazy. We were moving around and then getting into a new community and just wanting to be like a really solid foundation for our family and supporting Ryan when things are happening in his business. And I'm like, this is like, you know, I don't know. It's not like it's not like he doesn't want me to be able to do anything I want to do and he believes in me, but like, yeah, I don't know. It's just so wild to be a mom and have your like that desire to have a career, but also to have that directly compete with what it means
And
to be a
needs
good mom and just trying to
in your
find
household. Like,
the
I
balance.
think
Yeah.
that being a good mom, like for instance, like I made that joke about wanting to be a dad, blah, blah, blah. But like a dad who supports the family financially is doing his part for the family, right? Like that is a really big part of the household. And sometimes for a mom, if you're the breadwinner, like then you are out doing the financial part of supporting the family. And maybe the dad's at home and he's doing like the quote unquote mom part. I think the problem though is like, I think a lot of the data shows that even if women are the primary worker, they're also like the primary like household person. So it's still like imbalanced. But I think motherhood can look a lot of different ways. And I think like nowadays that's starting to be more clear so that when you're in your 30s and you decide you want to have kids, it's not just the one image of a household that's available to you. Like to your point, it's anything that you want it to be because women are in the workforce, women are increasingly the breadwinners. I think that men actually need to do a little bit of like updating to the times because I don't know that they're like comfortable with what's going on as a society, like on a societal level. Like less of them are going to college, yada, 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 but they're not like doing anything about changing their position. So I don't like, you know, there's like that male loneliness epidemic, but they also like don't want to talk to women. They don't want to talk to men. They don't want to go to college. I'm like, I don't know what to do for you. Like at this point,
There's actually really crazy data. Sorry, I got distracted because now there's an X in the sky right
like
directly in front of me.
Get your gas mask out.
Okay, so there was some really interesting data that I came across that was showing that so actually this is funny. Ryan sent it to me and it was a graph and it showed that millennial dads are spending as much time with their kids as boomer moms did. And he sent it to me to be like, look, like, you know, because he does a lot. He's a very present father. He's great. And he's the breadwinner, right? And the funny thing is, I was always like, I'm like, I have to make money, but it was like for myself. He's like, you don't have to do anything. But I had the desire to make money to prove to myself, you know what I mean? So anyway, hold
on 1 second. Spending your own money does feel different than spending someone else's, like in a good way.
Yes, but this is part of the deconditioning I'm in where I'm like, wait, no, my role, like I am equal in this partnership regardless of me having income or not, I can, if something is important for me to spend money on, it doesn't have to be that I generated the income. Like, it's like a next level embodiment of masculine, feminine, like dynamics and like household partnership, which is crazy because I've known Ryan for 10 years and I just now am like really stepping into like, oh, like I'm his wife. I can just be, I don't have to do anything. I never felt like that before. Isn't that crazy?
I'm sure that anyone else who'd be married to him would have felt like that on day one. Maybe that's why he likes you. It's like, we have eyes, babe. I'm not working.
Okay. So, but what I was going to say was he sent me that graph to be like, see, babe, like I'm doing, like I do so much more than all the dads used to do. But then what I saw in the graph was but also that millennial moms are spending also like 10 hours more a week or 6 to 10 hours more a week than boomer moms on childcare. So it was like, wait, okay, so the dads are spending more and the moms are spending more. And it's because we have this work from home, because there's less community support. The kids aren't out in the street playing with neighborhood friends. They're in your house. And so it was actually crazy because it's like all the parents are spending more time with their kids than our parents used to. So no wonder everybody feels so burnt out. But I also thought it was interesting because I think that as we get to be in our 30s, and like you said, like, it is so important how you parent your kids. And I think our generation was the first one to do a lot of like therapy, healing. Oh, we're learning about our mother wound or whatever. And we're reparenting ourselves and all this stuff. So we are like healing ourselves while then choosing to or deciding to raise children, not wanting to fuck them up. So we're so conscious about our parenting. We're like, the boomers, I think they're just like, okay, yeah, like, got some kids. They're downstairs in the basement. Like,
get me some cigarettes.
Yeah, they're just like, mom needs a break, and like pouring themselves a drink. You know, like they're just like not. I mean, my mom wasn't even like that. She did.
No, I've never seen my mom drunk at all.
No, but like, you know, the quintessential like image of like the older school moms. Anyway, so I think we are so conscious that we don't want to fuck up our kids in a way that nobody was before, which also is maybe part of like, does that
impact? Okay, so what I was going to say is like, I was reading this stuff on Reddit. I think someone must have read the exact same stat. And they were like, their commentary on Reddit was basically like, this is why people don't want to have kids. Because now you have to spend so much time with them. Whereas before, I don't know if your parents did this, but my mom, like we would leave in the summertime right when we woke up, and then we would come back when it got dark. And in the summertime, that's like at 9:30 at night. Like it's like 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. And we just be out and about doing whatever, which means that means your mom has like almost 12 hours of free time. Whereas like now people don't let their kids do that. So it's like being a mom is like so much more burden. And then to take it farther, someone commented that they think, I don't know if there was like another study, maybe we should look this up. I didn't look this up because I didn't think about it. That because kids need unsupervised time.
Yep.
And if they don't get it, I guess they have like really high rates of anxiety, because if they're always supervised and it always feels like someone's watching them when they're making decisions, they need to be able to like make mistakes and like do stupid things without their parents like looming over them. And so millennials are spending more time with their kids, but their kids are really anxious because they don't get any time alone.
For sure. I mean, you learn independence by just being like out on your own. I mean, after I read that study, I was like, I think the girls went down, they were playing behind they were like playing behind our house. And like, there was a point that Ryan was like, what are the girls doing? Can you check on them? Like, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, let them be. I was like, I don't care what they're doing. Well, I mean, they're in like the woods behind our house. There's nothing that can happen. But it's sad because I think a lot of parents don't want to live in this world, but yet there's all the fear of like, oh, you can't let kids out because they'll be abducted and like pedophiles and like all this crazy stuff.
Than it's ever been. It doesn't feel like it. Well, this is a stat that's always. I didn't look it up today, but like in general, the world right now is safer than it was before. But the reporting on everything is more than it's ever been before. So like if someone got abducted in Iowa in the 80s, you would never hear about it.
Right.
But
The
like,
news now feeds us all the scary stories that keep
yes,
us
and like
afraid.
only the scary stories. Like they didn't have like the milk carton thing just happened like in the 80s. There was no way to like nationally alert people that like someone's missing. That's why they couldn't find any of these kids. And like obviously I'm glad all that exists, but it's just to put it in perspective, like you can't, like I used to walk to school when I was a kid. You know, you could like do random things. It's not like I'm,
I think there
like
was stats about that too. That was the age at which kids used to like some parent got arrested. I forget where this was. This is a few months ago. Like a 14-year-old kid was walking to the corner store or something, and they like arrested the parent for negligence. And it's like, what the fuck world are we coming to? And then I was looking, somebody did a study data, and it was like back, 20, 30 years ago, you were assumed that when you were 7, you could be like outside playing alone in your neighborhood. And then that age increased to like 12. Oh no, I know. It was about leaving them home alone too. It was like, oh, back in the day,
I was
you'd
homophobic all
leave
the time.
like an 8-year-old. If you have to run to the store, it's like, just whatever. Watch your little brother, their 5-year-old brother, and I'll be back in an hour. And like now it's like 13 or something. And you would be like, somebody might call child services on you if you like, you know? And so it is really wild to think about, because it is putting a lot more, there's just so much pressure on the parents to provide so much and be so present for so many hours. Yeah.
So I do think that's like a big reason why maybe less people are having kids, because I think the birth rate's been falling, right? Like since, I don't know when, probably since the birth control was invented. But
well, I think now our replacement rate is like getting a little sketchy. Like there's like that you need, it's like 2.2 kids per
what?
a couple or something.
I didn't get, like, why?
For the GDP of the country to be strong is what they call it.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, now we're going into AI future, so I have no idea. Like we're also kind of overpopulated. So I don't even honestly know, like, do they want more people? Do they not? I can't really tell.
They want them if they're not brown. That's the reading I'm getting. No, I do think that's a big reason why people don't want to, or like are second guessing having kids, just like the investment. Because yeah, like even though the world's quote unquote safer, you're not gonna test it out on your kid. Like you don't want your kid to be kidnapped. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
I know. And
so
then people,
it's a risk. It's still a risk. So like I get it. But when I was a kid, like I would do a lot of stuff by myself. Like, and I mean borderline like negligence. Like, but we're all alive.
I mean, we were allowed to go out and bike around our tiny town that had no danger in it. It was like a town of like 800 people. It was like a village. Tiny.
Yeah, but when I was 11, I watched my 2-year-old brother the entire summer. Like when my mom was at work, which is like crazy.
While
like,
she's at work.
Like all day long.
I mean, I used to be a mother's helper at that age, but it was like one of the parents was working from home or something.
Yeah. Sorry, that was my whatever. I know. We would do nothing. We would like watch TV all day. Like if someone came to the door, we would just be not answer it. If someone called, we'd be like, my mom's in the shower. And like I would call my mom like I would call her work phone and just be like, hey mom, can I eat this? Can I do this? Like whatever. But it was just a different time. And my mom always says, like, you just always seemed so old. I'm the oldest. I was parentified, they would say. Which I think might be another reason why I don't want to have kids.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think that like helping to take care of your younger siblings then made you like have an aversion to wanting to do that?
I think it made me understand it. Like, I think it goes back to the conscious choice of like, for instance, when a lot of my friends get pregnant, I feel like they know less about being pregnant than I know about being pregnant. So like, I think it's different. You get to go into it and you're like, I don't know what's going to happen. This is so exciting. I'm like, okay, but I know what's going to happen. Like, I remember when my brother, I'm 9 years older. I remember when he was born. I remember when my mom would be like, do you want to take care of him for the night? And I'd be like, cool, fun. Like, you know how Evie is, like, it's a baby. Yeah. Like, I remember all of that. I remember my mom being pregnant and like being really big and her feet being really swollen. Like, I remember all this stuff. That it's like, I think it's different when you're like, I'm going to choose to do this. And I remember and I wasn't actually the mom. So it's not like I have the same feelings. So I think it all goes into it. Like, I think it's all part of the reason why I'm not drawn to it. But I always say to people, like, I'm interested in having kids, but I want like a foster kid. I want like a 16-year-old pregnant girl who got kicked out of her house and doesn't have a home now. Like, that's what I envision, like making the world a better place that way. Like, I would love to be a mom, but I don't want to be someone's mom. I don't know if that makes sense. I just like don't want that for me. I'm a godmom. I actually have 2 kids.
Yes. Well, I love that for you. And I think that's also something that has really changed over the past decade because, I mean, there's been, whether or not fertility rates are dropping, it's hard to tell because there's a lot of things moving.
Them.
Yeah, but okay, regardless of that, there have always been women or couples rather that couldn't get pregnant. And back in the day, I mean, there was like the turkey baster thing. I mean, I know somebody who is our age, but like he was in the conception was that they turkey basted a sperm donor with his dad's sperm into the mom. And then it was like they never knew if it was like, well, he found out later through 23andMe that his dad wasn't his dad. He found his dad, but he like it was one of those he did a 23andMe, and his parents were like, come home immediately. We need to talk to you." And then they like told him the whole story. But what I was gonna say was like back in the day, if you couldn't have your own children, like let's say you decided you wanted to have children, and it wasn't happening, then adoption might be a very real option for a lot of people. And then as technology has progressed, we've sort of shifted into this discussion of like, you know, IVF and freezing eggs and like making it work for you.
That's interesting.
And then that also affects how women are thinking about like the time pressure, because whereas before it used to just be like, okay, yeah, you either try it soon enough or you adopt later or whatever. Like, and now it's sort of like, no, we can control things to still be able to have our own children, but at the time that we want, in kind of a different way than we used to. But I
everyone
wonder,
tells me to freeze my eggs just in case. And I said, if I turn 40 and I want to have kids, I'm just going to try. I'm not going to, like, I'm not interested in that. I'm just going to try to have kids. I don't know.
Well, what happens to the kids that need to be adopted or fostered? Like, is that still a thing? Where are they
it's
going?
still a thing. You know, I used to volunteer in the foster system, and it's really fucking sad. And there's like 30,000 foster kids in LA, and they all live in like Lancaster because that's where it's like cheap to buy houses for them to live. And if they're teenagers, they never get adopted, and they live in like group homes, and they're like institutionalized, and it is really sad.
Funny because people are so into fostering dogs, like so into fostering dogs, but I like don't know anybody that's like, I'm going to foster a child. And well, okay, fostering obviously comes with its own challenges because
not everyone should do that. I'm not like saying that everyone should. Yeah, but like I have a friend from college whose mom used to be an emergency foster, so like for babies, so like if a baby got taken away like in the middle of the night, she would take the baby for like a few weeks or whatever, and then, you know, someone's gonna take, but she wasn't like fostering long term. But there are like needs, and not everybody should do that. That's like a very
well, and I was going to say in some ways fostering, like I think one thing that you've expressed before was like you don't really care about having like a baby, but you might be down to like hang with like a teenager or whatever.
I'll take like a 12-year-old.
Yeah, and like, but that is another point about fostering is like the baby phase is very challenging for a lot of reasons. And then like once you get a school-age kid, I mean, there's other challenges, of course, of taking on somebody that's like new to your family and that maybe has their own history. That might be complex,
they can like watch
but
TV,
also,
they can do puzzles,
yeah, I mean, they're like in school, they're like, you put them in activities. And just like, I mean, I'm not trying to compare children to dogs. I'm not that kind of person. Like whatever.
Yeah, your dog's a dog.
Like a dog is a dog. Sorry, people. But I just like fostering a dog is also harder in some ways because like, oh, the training, like, do they have trauma?
Yeah.
But a lot of people like to do that or adopt dogs that are a little older because they skip the puppy phase and they don't have to train a puppy or worry about taking them out all night when they like are peeing all night. Same as, you know, a baby.
But
so
people, I've said this so many times, like, if I could trade lives with a dog from a rich white family, like, I just would. Like people love animals more than they love people. And they like think that animals deserve to be happy and whatever. So they will foster dogs. But when it comes to kids, it's just like a different narrative. I don't know why. I mean, they're difficult. They're troubled kids. I always like feel so much like kinship with kids like that, because when I was in high school and stuff, people's parents that were like my suburban friends, like I was like the bad kid. Like they couldn't hang out with me because I came from like a whatever home. Not even like my home is like not even, you know what I mean? Like it's not even bad, but because I didn't have two parents, because my mom worked all day. She wasn't there all day. Like, you know, I was like sketchy, and I'm not. I'm, you know, whatever. So I always like think about like how kids in middle school and high school, like when they have hard lives, their lives are made like 10 times harder because the parents of the other kids are also passing this judgment on them. It just like makes me really sad.
Yeah, that is.
I think about it a lot when I am talking to people with kids, older kids, not like you because you're not old enough, but
like when they're judging their
13, you know, because there's like bad kids. I mean, there are, but like sometimes it's like, yeah, they probably have a really bad home life. Like,
for sure. For sure. Okay, so do you think that you will ever change your mind about wanting to have a baby? You kind of already said that.
No, but I have an open mind to it. Like I'm not like, no, absolutely not. Because I do think that I don't know, I think it's hard to live life that way. That's all.
Do you
like
think
I just think it's hard.
Do you think there's any circumstance that would like what would be the circumstance that would make you know that you were ready to have a baby?
I like can't think of a single one. That's yeah. I'm more into this like 16-year-old pregnant girl that's been kicked out of her house, like from Texas or something. Like,
wait, did you already think about that, or was that because one time I was on a hockey team and there was one of the women and she was like talking about how she was fostering this teenager that was pregnant, and she was saying something about it, and then I like texted you and I was like, Reyna, I feel like this is what you're gonna do.
I think Marie's the one who told me about it. I don't know. I have no idea. I've always had this idea about like fostering in general, but because everyone's like, what are you going to do when you get old? That is like not even a top 10 reason to have kids, you guys. Like it's behind teenage pregnancy, actually wanting to, and the condom breaking. It's like crazy.
I was going to say, what are the reasons to have kids from your perspective?
You're bored.
That's a good reason?
That's better than what am I going to do when I get old? You're bored now.
Oh.
Because having a kid, raising them and expecting them to take care of you is also a lot of pressure in the Western world, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like your kid might not like you. I mean, hopefully they do, but like, they might not.
Got it. So focus it more. You want it to focus more. You think it should focus on the present, how you feel, what you want now versus trying to forward look to what you might want or miss out in the future.
Not to like, you're not like breeding a retirement plan is what I'm saying. It's like,
wait, what? Wait, you think people are having babies because they think that those people are going to take care of them?
One of the biggest reasons, like biggest like objections I get if I say that I don't want to have kids is they'll say, what are you going to do when you get old?
Well, okay, wait, but okay, wait. Let's break that down. I think there's a few different things that, so there's one is just like, after you retire, hanging out with your kids and grandkids in that way, or like,
yeah, but that's the easiest part. That's like, I'm going to be on the beach. I'm going to have a margarita. I'm going to like be on a cruise maybe because I'll be old. Like I'll be like at one of those old people settlements where everyone has chlamydia because they don't fucking care and they're all fucking each other. Like what? Yeah, that's the easy part. Yeah. Like in Florida, Arizona.
Oh, okay.
Like really high rates of STDs.
Well, then of course there's like, yes, having a caregiver when you're old, like in the end of your life, for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, hopefully someone can, but what?
I'm not worried about it. Well, I think I will be dead. I don't want to live a long life. I want to live a good life.
To be honest, sadly, there are a lot of elderly people still basically alone at the end of their life, even if no matter how many kids they have, because the kids, like millennials, Gen X, they're like, we can't afford to not work to go help you. And everybody lives far away from each other. So It's like a little bleak either way at this point.
Well, how did you know you wanted to have kids? You kind of said at the beginning, but like, how about this? How did you know when it was the right time?
Well, I did get pregnant without consciously deciding. Like, okay, Ryan and I think I could see it more and more when I met Ryan. I mean, I always knew I wanted to be a mom. I always knew I wanted to have a family. And I had had previous relationships and like I don't know, maybe you could kind of say
You weren't having kids with any of those people. I'm gonna
yeah. No, I know. And I didn't like really think I was, although maybe you would like kind of have a joke about it here and there or something. And then when I met Ryan, I think I could just really see it. And I remember like right off the bat, us going on a date, like it must have been like our second date. And he was talking about his grandma was really important in his life. And we are talking about family. And he was talking about how important it was for him and that he wanted to have kids um, like sooner than later because he had a very old dad, which was so surprising because it's not necessarily something men usually say. And I was like, yeah, I definitely want to have kids. Like, you know, like that didn't scare me. I wasn't like, oh, I have to wait for like, you know. And I think we just felt really aligned. And then I could see it like when I knew that I wanted to marry him and like I was like, he is the one. Like, you know, it was like all in one. Like I wanted to marry him because he was going to be the father of my children, like because we were going to be a family. Like I could just see it and feel it all. And then so when we got married, I remember, well, we talked about last time I wasn't on birth control, and I think it was just like a very loose conversation of like, oh, well, we could be like a little bit looser because like we're married, so like if we had a baby, but I wasn't really thinking that we were going to get pregnant right away. And then I did, and I was like surprised by it. It took me a little second to get over it, to get around to the idea. And so I think in that case, it was really just like trusting the timing and like trusting what was sort of like what the universe was directing me into. And that's also something that I've also like consciously chose not to trust in another part of my life, which we can talk about at another time. But in that pregnancy, in that moment, I just felt like it was safe that I remember freaking out. Okay, wait, this is a funny story. We were on our way from a friend's wedding. Actually, it was in Laguna Beach at the Montage. And we were leaving to go to Burning Man. And we were driving there and I had just taken a pregnancy test and I was crying in the car because I felt so overwhelmed. I had just started my master's at Columbia. I was so excited about, and I was like in the very, very early stages of my business, which was going to be my next thing. And I was so excited about, and then it felt like, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to be able to handle this? Like, and I just was bawling in the car. And I just remember like Ryan was just like so steadfast and so supportive and so sure. Like he was just like, we'll figure it out. We got this. Like, he's like, you want to just like leave your job now? Just like leave it. Or you want to like do like, I just remember he was so like problem solving. And I know sometimes we don't like when men problem solve, but like, I just had this sense of like, yes, we will figure it out together. And like between us, like we'll be fine. And it's interesting because I had a conversation with a friend recently who had never really been super into the thought of having a family. She didn't really picture even necessarily getting married, let alone having kids. And now she's dating someone. She was talking about like having the conversation with him. He wants a family. And she's like, I don't know. I just wanted to tell him that like, I'm really scared. Like, what if it just seems so hard. And how do you know if you're doing it right? And and I was like, you know what? I think you'll know. Like, or I told her it's a challenge that you face with your partner, and you have a partner that you feel so solid in. Like, I don't know if I would feel comfortable by myself, but like us together, we're gonna like figure it out. It's like, you know, we can take on and us against the world kind of vibe, but in like a positive way. And so I do think that's why a lot of women, it shifts like when they meet the right man or when they have the man that then makes them see it, right? Because it can feel so scary on your own. Like I
Oh,
would never
I
be the
don't
mom that would like have a baby
understand.
without a man. Like,
Yeah, like my mom was a single mom and I like don't get it's like not computing. It doesn't compute in my head. Like, what were you doing? Like, what were you like, how did you? And it explains why I was like alone a lot or child caring a lot or whatever. But yeah, it doesn't compute to me how anyone could be a single mom.
well, I think
Those two single
some,
moms.
and there are women that are like, I'm gonna have a baby. I knew a woman in a like mastermind I was in, and she was like, "Yep, I'm doing IV. There's a surrogate and IVF, and she's having my baby." And this is like some high-powered lady, and she's like, "Yeah, I just got tired of waiting around for my man, so I'm just like having one." And I'm like,
That seems really hard though, because it's like, think about every time you do something and you're like, okay, I'm just going to bounce this idea off of somebody. And you're just like a single mom, like what you're just unilaterally, you have to decide everything. Like the mental load is just like, that's too much.
I mean, I'm not saying I would do it.
No,
I
I
think
know. It's crazy.
my version of motherhood always was like as a piece of a family. Although I think there are some women that just are down for like them and their baby and like that's the relationship
Yeah.
they're looking for.
I
And I
think some
think
people, I was saying that too. Like, I think some people grow up, dream of being a mom and not necessarily of the family. And some people like dream of the family.
yeah. Yeah.
But like, I think every mom, because you never know what happens in your life, would be a single mom if it was best for their family.
Oh yeah.
Well, not every mom, but lots of moms.
Well, I hope
Yeah.
so. I mean, I don't know. I was always, maybe this is how my parents were. I think they kind of passed down. Well, actually, no, I even remember my grandma saying this in like an advice thing or something. I don't know this, but I always remember it's like you have to put your partner first and then, or this is what I was taught. You prioritize your partner first and then everything with the kids will be good. And it was from the mindset, not that you don't care about your kids, not that you're going to like leave them out in the dust, but I think actually as a woman, you can fall into the trap of like, sometimes it could be easier to love your kids than your husband, right? Or like maybe that's so natural that you almost have to like have that intention and mindset to say like, no, the most important thing is actually loving my husband. And this is assuming your husband is like a good man, a good father.
Thing is like, I think it's a little bit different. When I'm saying like divorce or like leave because it's better for the family, I'm thinking of like a million other situations, which are like, well, there's a lot like, but some of it could come down to like even the mom's happiness. Like sometimes I think that moms stay with their husbands because of the family, but I feel like the family would be better if the mom was just actually happy.
For sure. I mean, happy wife, happy life is a phrase that means a lot. That, as Ryan said to me, like recently I wanted to do something that he was whatever. And he's just like, you know what? I already know. Like, he's like, you thought I wouldn't say yes, but you forgot that happy wife, happy life. You like, I don't know what you think is going on in our family besides you doing whatever you want. And I'm like, actually, yeah. But it is true because it's not just for like the husband-wife relationship. It's for the kids. Like when the mom is thriving, the kids will thrive. When the mom sets the emotional temperature of the household, and so much of like the spiritual, emotional, energetics,
cultural, like traditions, like a lot of that runs through the mom. Doesn't have to, but a lot of it does. Like there's a lot of, this is unrelated, but there's a lot of discourse between mixed people. If you're half black, half white, the difference if your mom's black or if your mom's white, and like how that presents differently. I'm not half white, but it's like people are argue about it because it's kind of can come off kind of mean if you're mixed with the white mom because whatever. And people are just like, well, there's just noticeable differences because the way you experience the world is taught to you by your mom. So if your mom's white and you're half black, you have incongruent experiences. So it's just like an interesting thing to think about of like, that really highlights the role the mom plays in the household.
For sure. It's the same reason why in Judaism, technically, you're only Jewish if your mom's Jewish, because they know that the mom is the spiritual leader of the household. The mom is the one deciding if, setting up for Shabbat, setting up for the holidays, like teaching the kids. my bubby, my dad's mom, because my dad is Jewish, my mom is Christian. My mom didn't want to convert because she's very Christian, and it was like a big deal for them to get together. Like my bubby was like didn't like my mom at first. She's a shiksa, and she's like, but then what happened was my bubby took on that like Jewish mother role in the way that she would teach us all the time. Like we would like practice writing Hebrew, and like she would teach us Yiddish, and she would like teach us the tradition. So she was like, we have to make sure that I bring this in, because she knew, she was like, it's not like your dad's job, like your dad can't pass this on, you know? So it was like she had to be the one to then take that on. So I do think that's very true. Like which comes through.
I think just goes into the point I made earlier of like why it's such a big decision to be a mom, because you are the spiritual leader, you're the mom, you're the household leader, and maybe because it's 2026, you're also the fucking breadwinner. Like this is a lot to take on. Not only that, but you're spending more time with them. I mean, I get it, but I love all my friends' kids. I love kids. I'm happy that everyone's deciding to have kids. If anyone's asking like whether or not they want to have kids, I'll say that's something that's true for me. As each of my friends had a kid, I felt happier that I didn't have a kid. Like,
okay, so you can see whether your innate response to those around you is like jealousy and like, or not jealousy, but like, oh, like I wish I could have that, or if it makes you be like, ew, cringe.
Like, okay, if I could live my life fully 100% true, if I was like to call you and be like, Grace, so-and-so's having a kid, that's how I would deliver it. But instead
I feel like you have maybe kind of done that.
No, I don't. I'm like, yay, great. Oh, they're pregnant. Cool. Whatever. But I like can't care. I'm like, well, good for you.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but otherwise, yeah, I don't know.
How will you know if you change your mind?
I don't know. I'll just be like, oh, I think I want to have a kid now. I feel like, I think I'm a very specific person because I just don't think my decisions are my identity. So like, I think some people have a hard time changing their mind about this because they've been saying for 20 years they don't want to have kids. I forgot that I've been saying this since I was a kid, but my high school teacher, I said something like, I don't know if I want to get married. He's like, you've never wanted to get married or have kids, like since I've known you. And I was like, oh yeah. And I just forgotten. Like, I don't think it's who I am.
Yeah.
So to me, it won't be a big deal if I change my mind.
Yeah. I love that for you. But what will be your life's purpose if not motherhood? That's a joke.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was just telling Grace earlier that I didn't think I had a life purpose. My purpose here is just to do my last call on Earth before I'm whipped away into dust, into space, spread across the galaxy forever in my eternal rest.
Teleporting out. Maybe you'll ascend. So I have this belief that...
Oh, I get to ascend?
Well, yeah. So, they say like, oh, the ascended masters, like if you if you finish all your karma and whatever and your soul reaches the place, then when you die, you like ascend out of this reality into heaven to like go back. Well, I think everybody does, but then maybe you come back down, but maybe you stay.
No, I think I'm done.
But I think this is why I think Jesus, when they're like, Jesus died, but he rose again, whatever. I think Jesus teleported out of the 3D. Because he like sacrificed for his sins, whatever, and he was like so next level. I think he literally, it was like, and he like, that's why he disappeared and whatever.
And he's ascended?
Oh yeah, he's definitely ascended.
Well, I don't know, man. He's a guy.
Yeah, there's this whole thing about the Shroud of Turin, which is like this, what he was wrapped in when they were like doing with his dead body. And then the whole thing was like, then they came back. Yeah, in the cave. I've been there. In Jerusalem, and then they like came back to the cave and the rock was gone, and then they went in and he was gone. But one of the craziest things is like, that's a Bible story, right? But there's people that actually analyze the Shroud of Turin, and the crazy thing is there's like a imprint of like his body on it, and what they said is it like doesn't make sense, but it looks like literally like a hologram of Jesus on the actual piece of fabric. And that's why I think it was like he teleported, like, because
the story is pretty crazy when you start to think about the details of it.
Yep. He was like, yeah. Anyway, okay. So
This is long.
Wellness hack of the week.
Yeah. Wellness hack.
Don't tell them it's long.
Oh.
You don't want to seed that. Act like we know what we're doing.
This is the exact right length that we planned.
Okay, wellness hack of the week.
Oh yeah, okay. Wellness hack of the week.
Do you have one, or you want me to?
He's gonna have to cut out this dead time because I can't think of one. Hold on. Do you want to go, or you want to go last?
I have one. We can do.
I didn't know if you want to go last.
Well, I was gonna let you speak, but if you don't have one. Okay, so I do have a wellness hack of the week. Sometimes people are like, "Oh my God, your skin is so glowy." And they like ask me what I use, and I'm like, I literally use like 2 products. I'm like very minimal. I have been told by a face reader that I have Shein, which is light that shines out of my face. So I'm like, I don't know if you can like get that, but I am really obsessed with this one product line. I think it's pronounced Freya Organics, but it's hard to pronounce because one of the letters is like a Norse like hieroglyph or something, whatever they are.
It's probably just a letter.
It's a letter. But it like looks like an O with a line through it.
Yeah, I think that's just one of their letters, bro.
I know, but like it looks like it would be Freya, but it's like Freya, I think. Anyway, if you know Norse language, then you know. Nordic? Norse? It's from like Norse mythology. Okay, so anyway, so they have these like very potent botanical products, and I'm really obsessed with. Oh, I did tell you about this because I was like, why is it so orange? But I love it. But they have this like day glow balm.
Is it turmeric or is it vitamin C that's making it orange? Or is it what's the other orange stuff?
I'm gonna look. So it's
buckthorn.
Sea buckthorn.
Sea buckthorn. That is
and yeah, and that has vitamin C.
Yeah.
Sea buckthorn. I mean, there's a bunch of other stuff in it, but I think that's the part because when I put it on in the morning, like I honestly, after I put it on, I massage it into my face. I like look at myself and I just am like, holy, like I don't want to put makeup on over it because I'm like, oh my God, I look so good. Like my skin is just like great because it has a little orange, so it gives you like a little color, Does
it have beta carotene in it?
It may. You know more about this than me. I just tried it once and then loved it, and now I'm like, I normally don't rec products, but I'm wrecking this one, and I'm not even like sponsored. I'm just telling you guys this. My secret is out.
Well, I have another orange product to recommend. Your story made me think of it, but it's of the different vein, more my speed. It's Metamucil.
This is like orange theme day. Get all your orange stuff in. But yours is like fake orange, right?
Yeah, but here's the thing. Colon cancer is going to be the most common cancer like coming up like for our age group. And one of the best things that you can do for that is fiber. And you need an average of 25 to 30 grams of fiber a day if you're a woman. Actually, a man needs 30.
Are you a Metamucil commercial?
I'm obsessed with fiber. You know this. Like, I'm obsessed.
I just liked how you said that. Okay, sorry. Don't let me interrupt. Tell them this spiel.
Okay, yes. And I swear to God, none of you guys listening are getting it unless you're eating a ton of beans a day. Like I'm talking like 3 or 4 cups of beans a day, which I know you're not. So most people are not getting enough fiber. I challenge you, measure it for 2 weeks. You're not getting enough. If you are, then fine, whatever. Leave me a comment. Actually, don't. But if you just do 1 glass of Metamucil a day, 2 teaspoons is 6 grams. So you got a head start in the morning. Old people drink it and me.
I like that. I mean, fiber for sure.
You can also just do psyllium husk, which is what is in Metamucil. You don't have to do the fake orange. I'm just going to tell you, psyllium husk tastes nasty, though.
What is the orange coming from?
Probably some food dye that's bad for you. It tastes like Tang.
But also, you can eat more beans. I just became a bean person a couple years ago. Now I'm
very hard.
Love beans.
Yeah.
How I got onto it was did a
Bean lady.
cleanse. Well, yeah, bean protocol for sure. But then I did a cleanse where I ate no food for a few days. Like it was like a digestive colon cleanse kind of thing. And I mean, you were drinking like other enzymes and stuff. It was part of a protocol. But then when they were like introduced back foods, I wanted to start beans, so I like introduced like white beans with like other stuff, and it was like the first food I had, and it made it so. Then I like from that point on, I was like, beans are so like they're like a comfort food, like a warm.
Chia is also like you get the most bang for a buck with chia. Also omega-3s, whatever, guys. Don't get me started. I'm just saying, eat more fiber. You're gonna get colon cancer. That's my wellness hack of the week. The decade.
So you don't get colon cancer.
Yeah, so you don't.
You are not getting colon cancer because you are eating fiber.
Yeah, 25 to 30 grams of fiber per day, bro. Per day.
Okay, perfect. I'll be on it. All right, ladies. Well, if you...
Ladies and Pat.
Ladies and some gents. We have a couple. I've had a couple of the men tell me that they like the show. So women, if you want to have babies, more power to you. We love you, moms. Go moms. If you don't want to have babies, we love you too. We
love aunts and godmoms and people who will feed the kids candy when their parents aren't looking and then leave to their quiet house and let the sugar high just take over when you're gone.
Just make your conscious choices, and we support whatever's right for you. Trust your intuition.
Bye.
Oh, the end.
Yeah.
Love you. Talk to you later.
I don't know.
Bye.